The purpose of this webinar is to provide Temple ISD families with an overview of the learning options this school year. This year, Temple ISD will be offering parents the choice for their students to participate in on-campus learning or remote learning. This slide outlines the experience that the students will have when participating in on-campus learning. Students will participate in a traditional on-campus experience with the implementation of preventative safety measures that were outlined in a previous presentation. At the beginning of the school year, on-campus learners will be given a beginning of year assessment in the areas of reading and math to determine any instructional gaps from the previous school year. This data will be used to determine what personalized support students will need during small group instruction. For this upcoming school year, the STAR and the EOC assessments are still a mandated requirement based on state and federal legislation for on-campus learners. Remote learning will also be offered in Temple ISD, and the remote learning has been designed based on the framework that the Texas Education Agency has developed for remote instruction. There are specific requirements for student attendance, required instructional minutes, and the types of instructional models. Remote learners in Temple ISD will be expected to meet these requirements based on the Texas Education Agency. They will be required to meet the daily instructional minutes. Students in grades 3 through 5 must participate in 180 minutes of instruction each day, and secondary students in grades 6 through 12 must participate in 240 instructional minutes. TEA has given local districts the flexibility to provide students in pre-K through second grade instruction in shorter time increments to allow for a more developmentally appropriate learning experience. In addition, remote learners must meet the daily attendance requirements, just like on-campus learners. In order to meet the daily attendance requirements, remote learners must participate in daily progress in the learning management system or demonstrate daily progress by a student-teacher interaction. This interaction could be a live interaction during a video conference, a student-teacher email exchange, or a phone call between the student and their teacher. Students may also meet the daily attendance requirement by completing or turning in an assignment each day in each class. It is important to note that students must participate in learning activities on a daily basis. Students who do not demonstrate daily progress will be marked absent. This slide provides an overview of the remote learning model. Remote instruction will be available for students in pre-K through grades 12, and students are required to participate 5 full days each week as determined by the school calendar. The instruction will be provided virtually either through live meetings or pre-recorded instructional videos. This instruction will be facilitated or provided by Temple ISD teachers and will utilize the same curriculum and instructional resources as on-campus learners. Students participating in remote learning will be provided with social emotional support through their counselors, as well as accommodations and support services provided based on student need. An internet connection is required for remote learners, and a district device may be provided if applicable. Families in need of a device will need to complete a technology request form. This form will be released after August 7th. Students participating in remote learning may also have access to specialized courses and activities on campus or participate in extracurricular activities and events as applicable. Let's take a look at the instructional schedule and design of a remote learner's day. Remote learners will receive their daily assignments and instruction through the district-supported learning management systems. TISD will be using the same platforms we used in the spring to provide continuity for our remote learners. Remote learners will be able to access these platforms through the Clever portal, and you can see on this slide which platform will be utilized based on the student's grade level. Students will also be provided a structured schedule indicating the required times for participation in live instruction or live instructional support with their teachers. Each student schedule may vary by campus and/or by student's grade selection. Here is a sample elementary schedule of a 3rd or through 5th grade student. Students would begin their day with a morning meeting or circle time, and this will be an opportunity for them to connect with their teacher and other students through video conferencing. Students will be provided with live teacher-led instruction in the areas of reading and writing, math, and science and social studies, as well as small group instruction for reading and math. Students will also be able to work independently at their own pace, working on the learning activities in Google Classroom for portions of their day. Students are encouraged to take brain breaks or recess during those independent learning times to ensure that they have the opportunity to move around and be prepared for the live instructional time. At the end of the day, students will be given learning activities in the areas of art, music, and PE, similar to on-campus learners. It is important to note that live teacher instruction will be recorded and posted to the student's Google Classroom so the student can access these videos after the live session in case they need to review that material or were unable to participate in the live instruction. Here is an example of a sample schedule for a high school student at the secondary level. You will see that students have opportunities to participate in live teacher-led instruction, and they also are able to complete independent activities at their own pace. Just like with elementary live instruction, secondary teachers will record live instruction if appropriate and post it on the student's Google Classroom or Schoology for review at a later time. Secondary teachers will provide a weekly overview for students to ensure the students know when they are expected to connect with their teachers. Let's review courses that will be offered for remote learners. At the elementary level, all courses will be offered except for beginning orchestra at the 5th grade level or enhanced electives like German or STEM. At the secondary level, there are some specialized courses that will not be available in remote learning. In just a moment, we will review these courses in depth. A specialized course requires students to either report to the class on a daily basis or report on site periodically for a student to demonstrate learning outcomes. Some students who are seeking to stay in a 100% remote environment will need to change their schedule or choose a different elective. Parents should also know that students participating in these specialized courses will not be provided with transportation. So let's look at the specialized course list. As you can see, these are the courses in athletics that may have some specialized requirements for remote learners. You'll note that the subject is noted on the first column, and then the actual course and grade level is shown in the second column. The expectation of the student's participation is shown in the third column, with athletics being an on-campus only class and athletics training showing remote learning with some required on-site learning. The last column explains the rationale as to why students will need to come to campus in order to participate in the course. So, what does this really show us? It shows us that for students who want to be in athletics in grades 7 through 12, they will need to be able to attend the class every day. For students who want to be in athletic training in grades 9 through 12, they can participate as a remote learner with some on-site learning required, meaning that students must attend practice every day in order to travel with athletic teams. It is important to note that a student can be a remote learner and be in athletics. They just have to participate in the athletic period each day. Additionally, there are classes in career and technical education that may require some on-site learning. And so you'll see on this slide, you can see the career cluster that's noted on the first column, and then the courses with their corresponding grade levels that may require some on-site learning. In career and technical education courses such as welding or automotive technology, some grade level courses like 10th and 11th grade will allow students to participate remotely and only coming to campus periodically throughout the grading period. But seniors in welding and automotive technology must be able to attend the class each day in order to participate in those courses. In the area of fine arts, all middle school fine arts courses are available remotely. But at the high school level, there are some specific courses that students must be able to attend each day in order to be enrolled in that class. It's important to note that for marching band, students could participate remotely, but they must attend before school practice every day in order to travel to the athletic games and competitions. Also in fine arts, kittens and color guard will require students to attend that class each day in order to be enrolled in the course. For JORTC at the high school level and some of our upper level high school science classes, students can participate as remote learners, but they will be required to come to campus throughout the grading period in order to demonstrate skills assessments or participate in lab experiences. Parents are encouraged to review the specialized course lists found on the website, and please contact your child's counselor if you need more information or if you would like to change your child's schedule so that they can remain in a 100% remote learning environment. All students will need to purchase school supplies for at-home use as remote learners. Elementary students may also purchase art kits from their art teacher if they choose, and elementary students will be provided district instructional resources each grading period for remote learning. Secondary students may purchase supply kits for CTE or fine arts courses, just like on-campus learners. Remote learners will also have access to school libraries. Librarians from your schools will communicate the process for requesting books remotely and will organize a drop-off and pickup times each Thursday at their campuses. Please contact your campus librarian once school begins for more information. Student progress is very important for remote learners, and we want to ensure that parents and students are aware of how their students are making progress. Students will be expected to demonstrate progress through the daily learning activities that they're required to do, as well as they will be required to participate in assessments assigned by their teacher and district and state assessments. Teachers will also be expected to monitor those students' daily progress, and they will provide weekly feedback on next steps or necessary remediation to improve your child's performance. This feedback may take the form of a grade, comments on your child's work, or student conferences that occur during live instruction. For remote learners, students will also be required to participate in the STAR or EOC, as it is still a mandated requirement based on state and federal legislation. Remote learners at the high school level may be required to complete some state or college assessments on site depending on state or program requirements. So let's review the grading policy for remote learners. Grading policies will be the same for both on-campus and remote learners. Remember, students must meet attendance requirements in order to receive credit and meet promotion requirements. Remote learners enrolled in courses used to calculate class rank or academic honors may have monitoring requirements when completing major assessments. These assessments will be monitored to ensure the academic integrity of grades for both on-campus and remote learners. So what about other activities on campus? How can remote learners participate in those? Unfortunately, ACE at the elementary level will only be available to on-campus learners. However, at the secondary level, extracurricular and UIL regulated activities may be allowed for remote learners. Remote learners may participate in these activities if they meet all UIL and district requirements and they're able to attend on-campus practices and competitions. The district is currently finalizing these guidelines and will communicate these to families once they are completed. It is important to note that transportation will not be provided for remote learners for participation in extracurricular and UIL regulated activities. Thank you for listening to this webinar on on-campus learning and remote learning. I hope that it was helpful in giving you an overview of your child's experiences this school year.